Hi, I'm Marcy McChesney, an artist from San Antonio, and this is Una Plática. My parents were the first people I knew that were artists. My mother's a painter and a ceramic artist, and she was an art teacher for years. My father was a painter, and he's an architect. But I come from a long line of artists. My grandfather was a painter. My grandmother was a seamstress. I have poets, writers, you name it. It's creative on both sides. I've been creating my art as long as I can remember. I grew up in a very colorful, lively household where my parents encouraged me to do all kinds of art. There was always art supplies everywhere, and they would encourage any type of expression, whether it's writing a play, performing, writing poetry. We were just really encouraged to be creative. I think about my culture a lot because I'm a mix of a lot of things, but basically I feel Mexican more than anything because my mother came from Mexico. She moved here when she was 15 with her family, and ever since she's lived in the U.S., she has romanticized the idea of Mexico. So I grew up having this fascination with Mexico and the beauty and the culture. His family's also from Mexico, but I do have a lot of European blood, so I'm kind of a mix of everything, which, I wouldn't call myself a Chicana artist, even though I feel like one, but if I were to call myself one, it wouldn't make sense because my name it's Scotch-Irish, it's McChesney, so I think I'm pretty much as American as you can get, a mixture of everything together. And to me, that's, I guess I would call myself an American artist. My artwork, I guess what I would like to portray with my artwork is a sense of playfulness, color, something that the audience can identify with, and it's something that I've played with since I started painting. Now I do collage work, so it's kind of a layered approach of image versus the hidden meaning behind it. But I also want the audience to come up with their own interpretation, whether it's visually or something more deeply rooted in their experience. Yes, I feel it's very important to have organizations like this because without an organization like this, that's a cultural center, like San Antonio residents don't have anywhere to go other than, say, an art gallery or an art museum where maybe they'll see 2 or 3 San Antonio artists amongst all these other artists that are from other places. So it's not something that they can identify with or that they can see themselves doing. When you have a cultural center, you're bringing in people from the area, and it gives them something to identify with and to be proud of. So some places like this are very important. My favorite program here is the Dia de los Muertos celebration. It has been beautiful. I've seen some of the most beautiful altars. at this event. And then when you bring in the dancers and the whole event, it's just like a magical, dazzling event that I try to come to every year. I would give people that want to pursue art as a career the advice of, don't take yourself too seriously, and don't think that the next thing you make is going to be your masterpiece. Don't be afraid to play around and experiment. If one technique isn't working, try something different. There's nothing wrong with starting over again, with learning a new technique, whatever feels good to you. And if something isn't fun, or if you feel frustrated, just move on to something else. And also, don't listen to the negative chatter of people who maybe don't understand. They think it's just a hobby. I would say surround yourself with other artists that are encouraging, that can give you good advice, that aren't gatekeeping their success, the kind of people that are generous. It's very important to be around other artists that are generous and tell you of opportunities coming up. So that's what I would say. So this is a hand-cut collage called The Now is Wow. And it depicts a couple. There are a couple of models from an advertisement in the idyllic setting of mid-century modern decor and living. They're wearing beautiful outfits. But then I put it in this underwater environment just to kind of what gives it its deeper meaning. It's a kind of a playful piece. So this piece is called Let It Burn. But then after looking at it for a while, I thought another good name for it would be Not in My Backyard. And to me, this kind of represents what we're going through politically in this day and age, where I think a lot of people are so interested in their self-interest and not looking at the bigger picture and looking more to their comfort. Well, how is this going to affect my family, my circle, my people, my future, not really looking at the big picture. And so what I like about this picture is it's this family that's having this nice picnic in the suburban setting, and looking right over the wall, they're seeing this huge mass of fire. And it's kind of like, well, this is fun. Let's just watch it from here because we're safe on this side. So this is a piece that I call Playtime, and it depicts two girls playing, probably coming home from school, and skipping around, jumping over this building. And what I like is how I switched up the scale to where they are larger than life, and they're kind of conquering this setting, which is a very brutalistic, serious-looking building, but to them it's nothing. And what I like about it is the energy of the girls, and to me, it depicts the time when you're a child, especially for girls, before you become self-conscious and you feel like you're always being looked at, and you want to behave a certain way because you feel like you don't want to put off the wrong impression. And so it's kind of pre that, and what I wish everyone would get to that point. So I just thought it was a playful yet poignant little moment in our childhoods that hopefully we can all remember. This collage is called Penny, and it depicts a brilliant San Antonio writer named Penny Boyer, who I interviewed for an artist grant that I received last year through the San Antonio Arts and Culture. And in this project, I interviewed several people whose lives had changed for the better through COVID. And her situation was, she was pretty much forced not to work and not to do anything outside the home. And so she really hunkered down and started writing. And she ended up getting an artist grant and multiple other awards. So what I did was interview her and then kind of pick some of the images of things that she is really interested in. She lives very close to the tower, so I put that in there. she has roots to New York. She lived in New York, so I put a New York landscape. She's really into Shakespeare and classical literature, so I put some of that in it as well. And then I had photographer Deborah Keller-Wren take pictures of her, and so I just put them in an arrangement that showed her as a writer, as accomplishing her goals, as a avid reader, and it just I did this with several people, but this one really touches my heart because she's such a good person and such a good writer, and I think this one was pretty successful.